But this is ADHD also. Like, this is a justice.
Hey,
This
is the true face.
This is how
We're
I
not
feel.
hiding it.
And this is why my family is like, maybe we shouldn't be a family anymore. You're better on the road. We want to live in the place that we live now by ourselves.
Was this Alan growing up? If I met you at 12 years old, is this basically the same guy? Like in terms of his vibe?
Yeah, but just the things that made me mad were different.
Sure,
like the fact that like Nintendo wouldn't work, the controller wouldn't work sometimes. I used to think that people were actually watching us play from behind the TV monitor.
So he would punch through the TV and then take the Nintendo. So strong words, strong feelings. Speaking of strong feelings, he did refer to Dax earlier at the beginning, and we're not going to go all the way back here and watch it, but seems like a nice guy. He's compelling. He's interesting. You know, I'm really interested in what future movie projects he has. Motor City, here it says Batman rumors, Fast and the Furious, something, Smallville, Thor. Here, let's just do the Batman rumors. Let's see what he says here. Then we're going to talk about ADHD. Don't go away. You'll learn something. Don't worry, because I have him on the Dax Shepard show. I'm not sure what they were referring to, but I found another clip.
No, I have to bring up. I've talked to James about this. James Gunn is a very big fan of yours.
Here's the Dax Shepard. I don't know what he was referring to earlier, and we could have gone back and dug into it, but this is where they start talking about ADHD. Let me, yeah, I'll go back up just a little bit more. This guy's got some big career. I think he was a comedian. I don't fucking know. There's a whole world of like these like more famous podcast guys that, you know, other people do the uploading. So, you know how I feel about that.
Okay.
But what is this thing where it's like, I'm in trouble, I must have done something?
Hypervigilance. Yeah. You learn to read the room real quick.
Uh-huh.
And I think, you know, the survival mechanism is like, am I responsible for this and what can I do to fix it?
Yeah.
But yeah, and I also I suffer deeply from rejection sensitivity dysphoria.
Which is part of ADHD,
yeah,
right?
it
Yes.
is.
RSD, it's often referred to.
Actually, just nobody. I've never talked about this before. I've talked about bipolar before.
Yeah.
I think I have it all. I think I have like the whole,
We all
And guess what?
It's a
working.
patchwork
It's working.
But I just hired an ADHD coach.
Oh, really?
To kind of help me, you know, because I feel like pre-40, you know, the ADHD brain is a superpower. But the fuel comes at a huge cost later in life, right? I mean, your gas tank runs off cortisol.
Yeah.
Your beard might fall out, for instance. Yeah, I'd say so. I think I could think of some changes to my scenario that might have kept my stress levels a little bit better, where maybe I didn't lose my beard, but mostly money, also family. I had some fucking shit happen that, and maybe not that botched circumcision, but all kinds of things. Yeah, the rejection. I do have that rejection sensitivity dysphoria. That is a thing. You know, it's kind of, there's also a thing called PDA, and there's another one, which is persistent demand avoidance, or also sometimes referred to as pathological demand for autonomy. Like that feeling of anybody telling you what to do and you kind of like bristle at that. So either you still do it or you accept you kind of evaluate you know, what should you be told, or what you're willing to accept being told what to do in some scenarios. You work for somebody or this or that, but it still kind of eats away at you. I've always sort of hated working for anybody. It just kind of drives me crazy to have anybody tell me what to do. If I agree, if there's consent, if there's respect, it's different. You know, these things aren't all so cut and dry. But yeah, when you're younger, I didn't know what ADHD was. I didn't know what autism was until age 42 when I finally learned. I'm 46 now. And I had a whole different life before, you know, I relate to these types of stories. When you're younger, it kind of burns out. And ADHD and autism are separate things. But people who are autistic it's understood, research shows it's at least 50% of autistic people are also ADHD. And I'm very much confident I fall in that category. I'm self-identified. I could argue that I'm diagnosed myself, but I tend to lean on identification language until I get a formal diagnosis, which I hope to do sometime soonish, maybe. I don't know if there's any even benefits to that other than the validation that comes from it, but I'm very confident about both of them. Just I've had a really difficult time in the last couple of paid jobs that, you know, including this TYT thing. It's not a paid job, but like I promised to get working on it at last January in the last update. I'd be like, I'm going to be working on like February or March. And it took me 5 months to get to a point where I could even start to switch to it, which is where we're at finally now. There's a lot of stuff goes into it because we're talking about like the way energy flows in your body, the way your thoughts are produced, the way your emotions and your feelings kind of are generated in your emotions and feelings gland, your thoughts and feelings gland, which is your brain and your nervous system. So anyway, let's hear more about this. I'm interested.
And stress and like the fear of the pain of rejection and criticism. And, like I hate it so much because it's such a visceral, violent, sickening bodily reaction that like I'll do anything to avoid it. So like I'll be perfect for you. This will be the best experience or relationship you've ever had. So you're not ever going to be mad at me. That doesn't work.
It's exhausting for the
people.
Well,
it's not reality.
My kids have said
it's not reality.
Had to ask. That's why I've been confronting it, and that's why I heard it in you. Is my kids finally said like, I hate when you say that.
Oh, and so they even recognize that.
Yeah, I'll always go, oh, did I do something or did I upset you?
That's really perceptive.
Yeah, and they said, I don't like that, like in a very soft way.
I don't want to hear what Dax Shepard has to say. Get back to the hunky man.
I don't like that because what it does is like I'm dealing with something, and then all of a sudden it's about you, and I got to reassure you that you're not in trouble. And it's like I'm the one who's upset. I'm like, fucking duh, yeah, that's so selfish of me. I think I'm being very selfish.
Well, okay, it's challenging if you have a trusting relationship with someone that you can actually communicate with. Even then, these are more like, just think of it as like rapids. So like life is kind of rough rapids, and then there's some peaceful spots, and there's some fun spots that are rough. There's some very scary spots that are rough. And like having a mind like this, it's like the rapids are just escalated. They're just up. They're just worse. The peaceful stretches are fewer and farther between. There can be more surprises. There can be flash floods. The rapids of life are just worse and harder, and you have less tools to navigate those rapids. Actually, one of the metaphors, and if I ever get around to writing the book about it that I think about, is maybe even on the cover, it would be like a broom and a kayak paddle, because it feels like kayaking in life. And like not knowing that I was autistic felt like I had a broom as a paddle. Like I was always struggling. It's always like I couldn't get things together. Water spraying me in the face, trout bouncing off my sternum and my eyeballs, hitting rocks, bumping into driftwood, crashing through the corpses of overturned rafts from those rafting disaster videos. What am I doing? But yet I couldn't navigate. It was always a struggle. And it's like, not to mix metaphors, it's like my one of my train wheels was always off the rails for some reason. I was always behind on life, even though I showed a lot of promise and intelligence and a communication ability. It's just nothing ever really clicked. And I struggled with friendships and feeling like I belonged in things. And so, but learning I was autistic, and then I also came to some understanding about ADHD. I'm very confident I'm also ADHD. Was like finding a kayak paddle, like finding a proper tool for the challenge I was in. The waters were still rough. Shit was still bad. The peaceful stretches weren't so easy to get to, but at least now I had a better tool for me to navigate that stuff. I wish I could say it was that easy, and I've just found myself fighting and getting really good at kayaking, but I'm just so burnt out I can barely function some days. There's so many days where just the baseline functionality is not even, it takes all my energy just to do something baseline for me. And it's brutal. It's so hard. That's why doing this project is overwhelming me, because I can handle the video editing and I can handle the emotional lift of it all and the kind of storytelling. And I think I have a lot of skills to offer in that sense, but the promotion and the money and the daily stuff, meaning like the pedestrian sort of things, there's a reason they make documentaries with money and with groups. And there's a reason when someone with no money who has nobody helping, that's why it takes much longer. Just to use one small example. But why is Dax Shepard I think he's talking about recognizing his children, communicating with them about their discomfort. That's nice. It sounds like that's a healthier thing. But I want to hear the future Bane Batman
helpless in trying to apologize or whatever, amend whatever thing I did wrong. But in fact, it's like, yeah, it's like stealing their thing in a way.
Seeing them less because you're recognizing your own.
Yeah, because like they're now in a position where I'm like, did I do something? They're like, they have to now go like, oh no, you didn't do it. Like they have to now comfort me.
Right.
When I should be coming in to comfort them because they're upset. But instead, I've said, did I do something wrong or did I upset you? And now they got to comfort me.
Right.
They've learned to hide their emotions from you. Like, oh, well, I guess I can't be like upset around Dad.
Right. So there's masking, there's people pleasing behaviors. Now, you don't have to be autism or ADHD to do people pleasing for sure, but it's generally a trauma response to earlier childhood type of things. But masking is one of those concepts that when I first learned what autism is and went down a deep dive into it for many months, I didn't just decide after that first article, although the article described my life with more accuracy than anything I'd ever read. That's why I was like fucking stunned by that one night. It was the most important thing that ever happened to me. But masking wasn't, almost every other concept was very intuitive because I had been kind of studying it. I had been observing it. I have a hypervigilant, hyperperceptive, hyperempathic, lonely, isolated. So I was always felt like an outsider watching all this shit happen. So I had kind of been mapping it out, and learning was like I'd been studying a continent, drawing mountains and streams and rivers and valleys. And then suddenly I was able to like float above the mountain and see the picture. That's kind of what it was. But masking wasn't a concept that I totally grasped with the same level of confidence and intuition as the first round of things. Nowadays, I do have a much more secure grasp on the concept, but it's essentially boils down to conforming to an authenticity that isn't yours. And it's a thing you do at a very early age as a way to gain some agency. It's not conscious. You don't do it consciously at all. In fact, it becomes so endemic's not the right word, but it becomes so thoroughly part of your being that it prevents an actual self from developing in a healthy way. If you're masking your whole life, and I was, and I had the kind of traits that make detecting my profile of autism much harder. Even though I had difficulty with sound, I had issues with fireworks and like fire trucks causing I always felt embarrassed that I would need to like plug my ears, and I would like cringe when fire trucks went by, and I kind of noticed that other people didn't seem to mind as much as I did. And being a big, strong, tough guy, kind of like Alan Ritchson is. Why is that name is hard to say? I always felt kind of like I wasn't upholding my social contract to be a tough guy because the fire trucks would make me recoil. Now I know it's just I have hypersensitivity to noise. I have issues with the way my brain processes inputs, photons and sound waves, and when you don't know that you're autistic, it's brutal. It's fucking brutal because you operate with a very inaccurate and oftentimes dangerous inner narrative. I still struggle with the loser narrative and the self-esteem stuff, and it's kind of contradicted by wanting to do stand-up comedy and to be a performer and a comedian and a podcaster and put myself out there and all that other kind of shit. So it's a blend of stuff. It's always much more complex than you think, but masking is very much about keeping others around you, prioritizing their comfort over yours. And sometimes it works for a while. Sometimes people mask themselves into successful quote unquote careers. But if you're using your nervous system and you're overusing a already overwired or extra wired or, miswired or however you want to describe it, because autism is fundamentally about the way energy flows within your body. ADHD is about task initiation, task completion. It also comes with emotional dysregulation, dopamine access. It can be treated with some people are treated very well with ADHD. Others struggle to find the right dosage or to have any treatment at all. I'm completely untreated. I take magnesium glycinate and L-theanine, and I just got onto matcha thanks to my mom, which I actually think is helping because I'm drinking less coffee. I've had addiction problems. I was very late developing with girls, in terms of like all the different sort of markers of life with these conditions show that you're going to reach developmental milestones at later stages, and you're more likely to face or fall into maladaptive coping behaviors. People with autism, ADHD are way more likely to die of suicide, to get substance use disorders, to have issues with being victimized, to be pulled into extreme high control groups at sometimes, maybe. Also just being kind of a defiant like myself, like very much with the rejection sensitivity dysphoria thing with my Young Turks project. Partly why I'm doing it is because I'm not supposed to, because the idea is you're supposed to stay in your lane. You don't, how dare you speak out of turn? You get to be treated like shit by a boss. And if you don't like it, you go away and you don't talk about it. Well, I didn't like it, but I needed the work. So I unionized, and then the guy busts the union, and then he lies about the origin of the union. And that's the story I'm telling with my documentary, Tell the Truth, Jank. Go to the website. But a major part of that is like, I have a very, very strong, that like, fuck me, fuck you. Like I have that in me in spades. And yeah, one final part, I'll just, because I'm rambling. I don't let things go easily. I hang on. It sucks. I wish I could. I do to some degree. It's not like I'm reliving trauma from childhood exactly at the same point as I am, but my memories are clear and strong and durable. And I had a lot of issues with my mom and her issues that she had over the years. Right? There's a whole book there. She attempted suicide via starvation, for instance, just to twist your brain into a knot. If you want to just ponder what that must be like to go through, didn't complete, wasn't necessarily attempted. Makes it sound like it was some, okay, I could go on and on, but that was a hard time. that was a bad few years around there. So some things like that. And then injustice is a huge driver too. That feeling of fairness not being applied, and autistic people tend to be like a kind of strict rule followers. They want us, because that's sort of a way to navigate systems that make it seem like, well, if I'm following rules but there's social exceptions to all these rules, because neurotypicals, they might say, or allistics is another word, they kind of speak in riddles and have the more intuitive understanding of the intangible parts of the way communication and social behavior works. And so it comes with an enormous cost in terms of energy that you spend trying to think things through, as well as the downsides of having a social dysregulation in a species that is heavily social. So the final thing I was trying to get to is, like, when I don't let things go, it's kind of like everybody's life is a pile of like archaeology, like looking, the layers of dirt stacking up on top of each other. There's the Roman mosaics, and there's the fossils, and there's the clay pottery, and there's the T-Rex bone, and then there's the toxic barrel that has a glowing nuclear waste, and you descend through the past of your life, and all those things, all those fossils kind of fade. They're down there. People have memories, but it gets cloudy, and especially as you get older, those memories sort of really go way down, and they get further and further and farther away. And in my case, that's kind of true. I'm not saying it's not totally different, but I have a thing where my fossils scream. They can wake up. They still make noise. So I'm haunted by my fossils and my layers of archaeology that go back into my past, and stuff with my mom, especially. Like I'm very fortunate that my parents are, willing and trusting and wanting to help. And a lot of people come out as late identified autistics don't have that good fortune, but they don't fully understand. And, this is a difficult thing to do, to ask someone to sort of watch their tone, because my mom talks about things that upset her. I have one of my main metaphors is the head tigers. Like my head tigers are always trying to get out of their cage, and I spend my days putting them back in their cage. Some days it's easier than others. But my mom has the ability, just because of the biology, both my parents, but the biology of the parent-child relationship, she can open those fucking cages, and she'll do it without even realizing it. She talks about something that's upsetting her, and then now I'm thinking about shit that was upsetting her when I was 5 years old, when I was 15 years old, when I was 25 years old. You know what I mean? So the ghosts start screaming. The fossils start moaning. That's what it's like. It's like mine, I'm haunted by my past because it's more vivid, and the motherfucking T-Rex has a little voice that goes, ah, ah. T-Rexes sound like goats. You know how goats scream? They sound like men screaming. Ah! Those are the best videos. And I think that's a powerful way to look at it, though. I actually like that metaphor of the screaming ghosts, the screaming fossils down in my past, because it's hard to let shit go. It's really hard, man. And a world where you have to depend, your survival depends on access to money, and you have social dysregulation, and you have photon and light sensitivity that makes it almost like so difficult. I had to, I almost caused a car crash. I don't know, I'm going to start crying now, but like, I was, pulling out of a grocery store parking lot, and I've been a very confident driver for a long time. Never been in a bad crash. I've been bumped in the back multiple times at McDonald's. But I've always been a good driver and confident and safe and like the right amount of aggression, you know, not timid. But there was and things have gotten so much worse for me as in the last like 5-6 years. I was unmasking before I learned what autism was. I thought I was losing my mind. I thought I was always kind of nuts, you know. I was always intense and depression and anxiety, but things were going wacky. I was afraid of dogs randomly for like 2 years. And this is all during the period before and during the Young Turks job that I did, where the union story started and stuff too, because I didn't know what, you know, I didn't learn about autism until 2 or 3 years after that all ended. But the fuck. Oh, I had to remember. There was a motorcycle behind me, and it's loud. And a younger me would have been fine. It would have been a little annoyed, but I was like, just, you know, pull out. And it wasn't even, they weren't like being a jerk. They just had a loud bike, you know? And I just got this panic. I always get really wigged out about cars that are behind me, as if like that's a good reason to like rush through a stop sign or a stoplight in case there's a camera. I always worry about, but like, oh, I'm holding somebody up. But it was totally normal. This guy nobody was doing anything wrong, but the noise was clouding my head up so much. I couldn't think straight. And I started to feel an anxiety rush, and I took kind of a weird turn. I just wanted to get out. I didn't like almost cause a crash. It was safe enough, but I pulled off onto the curtain, not onto the sidewalk, but like I didn't hit the ramp perfectly into the street. And so like I bumped my car slightly on the corner, and I just sort of rushed the turn. And then I was like upset, and I had to I pulled over at the next street into some neighborhood, and I just parked my car for like 5 minutes, and I just sort of had to calm down because of a motorcycle. Like, it's like danger. Not that I was like a danger to the streets or something, but it was still like, that was a great example of like the sort of suddenly, because I was already out in the world, just trying to come back from the grocery store. It's always exhausting to just come home from all that stimulation and thinking and stuff. And it was just like, I needed to avoid that. I needed to get away from the motorcycle or so. I don't know, but I mean, but it was an important part, or that anecdote sticks with me as far as what it's like, because it's like suddenly you just can't focus. A lot of it's very attention based. Sorry, I didn't mean to go on and on. Let's go back to
because he's
gonna feel all crazy,
exactly,
rejection or whatever, start apologizing
exactly.
Again. So being aware of that and recognizing that they're aware of that, which is impressive. What does that awakening do to you? Like, how do you so are you sort of like, you're putting more energy into managing the awareness of it before, you know, or confronting it before it happens, or
yeah, so
becomes a problem?
It's like my whole life is a series of things I've quit, right? It's just like, I don't know when I accumulated all the badness, but at some point I had to start just removing alcohol at 29, or removing this. And then now we're down to this. It's like, yeah, I gotta stop that. I cannot ask you repeatedly all the time, did I do something wrong? Are you upset with me? I have to trust that they will tell me if that's the case. And then this weird AA thing starts happening, right? Which is like, they always tell you, you can act your way into thinking different. You cannot think your way into acting different. So it's like, by simply stopping the repeated, am I in trouble? Am I, you know, did I do something? By stopping the action, the thoughts dissipate.
Okay.
You know, it's like reverse.
I think to some degree there might be some truth to that, but it's not a catch-all. I don't know if that like simplistic reversal of those words didn't quite make sense. But I do think that sometimes movement does precede feeling. You know, you can kind of shake things off, but there's also times where if only that were so clear and obvious, but actually acting on that itself can be impossible depending on how bad things are.
Hacking.
But I want to jump ahead a little bit here. I see they're talking a little bit more about I want to hear Alan, not these guys. This guy's going to be the future Bane, man. He's going to be the future Lucius Fox.
A bit of that theory, but
Carrot back up.
yeah, I get that totally.
Oh, fuck.
There's obviously a genetic component to ADHD.
Here we go.
But also there's I'm sure embroiled in that is some childhood stuff.
I was just diagnosed. I have all the diagnoses. I feel like, you know, like when you see people on like late night and they're like the most gorgeous, wonderful, well, like everything's perfect.
It's the girl
and
that's
like, I was such an ugly duckling when I was a kid. Like, everyone hated me. Like, yeah, right.
I know.
right.
I hate that.
I don't buy it when I see it. And but sometimes I feel like people like they have these like sympathy diagnoses where you're like, yeah, I'm just so messed up. You know, you look pretty put together to me.
Exactly.
I mean, but I mean, not to take it. Look, some people maybe really, you know, mask it well or like deal with it well or whatever. But I
think money helps a lot. I think the stress of poverty is absolutely punishing. A lot of homeless people are neurodivergent and autistic. And like, if I didn't have help from my dad, I'd be homeless. And I don't think I'd be alive anymore. I'm not sure I could survive homelessness. They would. I've been indoors my whole life, and there's been times where I can't function indoors, where I'm so shut down by my fuck brain that it's yeah. So like, if I didn't have that help, if I didn't have help from my roommate, I'm sorry. That's all the fucking fundraisers for. It's just so I could pay my goddamn rent, man. Part of the issue I have is I can't regulate my emotions the same enough to operate in workplaces. So that's a big reason why it's hard.
keep finding out that like I have these pretty sinister things under the hood that are like really corrupting relationships in my world on a day-to-day basis. And the evidence of it is everywhere. Like things are not always great in the very few relationships that I have.
Right.
By any means.
There's damage.
And so I'm like, why are like the 3 relationships that are important to me not working at all? And so, you know, you start to look under the hood. And I was diagnosed recently with CPTSD. CPTSD, chronic post-traumatic stress syndrome, which is interesting because PTSD, what I've learned, and look, I'm not an expert.
You might be. Let's see.
PTSD. From what I've learned from the psychiatrists, psychologists who are experts in the field, is it's actually much easier to heal from those sort of one-off traumatic events. When you have chronic PTSD, which is like trauma with a little t is how it's described, repeatedly over and over and over again as a kid, like somebody who's like, if there's like a narcissistic adult in the home, right? Or an abusive adult, or like, chronic or
food
repeated
scarcity, an imprisoned parent, addiction,
all ongoing bullying, even long-term war deployment. But war is another example of acute PTSD. A car crash is a great example of a PTSD type event, or violence act, or something like that. Those sorts of things can be PTSD. But I've looked into the CPTSD myself quite a bit because some of the symptoms for CPTSD are actually similar to autistic traits in adulthood, like avoiding crowds, avoiding people, staying indoors, becoming sensitive to oversensitive to lights and sounds and things like that, being kind of jumpy. So some people will think they're autistic when actually they're probably dealing with CPTSD. And of course, it's more complicated because autistic people are more likely to experience ongoing traumas that cause CPTSD. So there's a good chance that you probably had some CPTSD on top of your autism. It's why shit's complicated, man. It's and among the reasons that being diagnosed is healthy or can be good or can also sometimes be difficult is like they want to look at early childhood events or things from your earliest childhood years to see to rule out CPTSD. Basically, is kind of my understanding. CPTSD. Did I say it right? Like I had anecdotes of me being incredibly sensitive to like fireworks at like age 2 or 3 and same with fire trucks and also social things as the way I was as a kid. And I showed like high intelligence too for various things. Like autism doesn't mean negative traits. It means excessive wiring. It means extra of stuff or not enough of stuff. It's kind of, it certainly kind of manifests into the negative realm based on the world we live in and based on the kind of things that the return signals we have in our assessing whether something's wrong. Because if there's positives to it, you don't necessarily go to the doctor because you're really good at tennis. But like I think you can be like autism is variability of the human nervous system is another way I've kind of way to describe it. And so it doesn't just mean like just a negative shit, or even just emotional, or even just thoughts or feelings. It could also mean, like, I think in some way almost like physicality. Anything that has to do with the way the nervous system functions, including the brain, is subject to that variability, is what I mean. So
Sexual abuse, yeah.
Right.
like, he doesn't say he's autistic. He might be, but you know, neurodivergent can also affect attractive people, as Alan and myself prove.
So and repeated, and if it's made worse by having no secure attachments, they're like almost likely to like never fully recover, right?
Right.
And so there are now methods that, like, you know, that I've now experienced, like EMDR, electromagnetic. So you have this like this vibrating pulse in your hand that keeps both hemispheres online, so you don't get like locked into this when you start talking about trauma. Talk therapy, you don't get locked into this like shutdown mode, right? You keep both hemispheres on, and somehow in doing that, it allows you to sort of process this stuff differently, where you can move through it.
So, really quick, you used little handles, because my wife did like eye stuff.
Let's just skip ahead. I just want to get to Alan. Well, they say bro a lot here. Somehow. All right.
Do you have that? It's like any action I do,
Sure.
I hear the fucking assholes from my neighborhood.
I just feel like I'm not driving the car. Those voices are more than voices. They got a hold of the wheel, and I can intellectualize in this moment. I'm like, fuck, this is rejection sensitivity syndrome. This is probably related to the fact that I was so terrified of upsetting, you know, the way the machine was working in the home as a child, that like tiptoeing on that broken glass. That now, this is all a reaction. I can see it happening in the moment. Like,
Well, hold on. Sorry, this is not. I got to switch the shot here to. Okay, does it? Yeah. So look at the. Look how it did the. I'm watching the bottom. I'm watching the transcript while we're watching this, so I can kind of see ahead. And here he says again, in the home as a child, like tiptoeing. And then I just saw he just started saying, bro. But all he said was broken. He said, broken glass. He just, you know, did a double on the broken. But why did the transcript put all the brokens in there? That's really funny. Here.
Was working in the home as a child, that like tiptoeing on that broken glass. That now, this is all a reaction. I can.
It added like 20 bros. That's so funny. Bro.
Broken glass. That now, this is all a reaction. I can see it happening in the moment, like an out of body experience, and then still have zero control over it. Just, you know, zero. I can't stop it, and then it does damage to the relationships, because I'm like, now I'm lashing out because I feel so hurt and rejected and criticized, when like the scale of that rejection or criticism, it was just a comment to them, but it felt like a life-changing gut punch to me.
Ostracization, you're gone.
So then there's like this, the relationship is out of balance. It's volatile.
That's a big important thing to understand, is that this stuff sounds like little personal quirks people have, but they affect relationships profoundly within the family, outside the family, employment. The autistic unemployment rate is as high as 80%, 85%. I've also seen it as low as 60 something percent, but it's enormous. It's very high. And I have all kinds of reasons why I'm unemployable. But it's about relationships, and we're a social species. So if you have ADHD, autism, things like that, that can cause this kind of dysregulation and this sort of impact on your relationships. At best, it means you have to spend a ton of energy to maintain healthy relationships. And sometimes you vibe with someone in a way that feels okay. Like the people I've vibed with over my life, not every single person that I've vibed with, but a good majority of them were likely neurodivergent themselves. Now that I look back on things, just the way they were and the way we got along and the kind of relationship that was. So it's really healthy for people. And that's one of the reasons why learning you're autistic, partially one of the great things of learning is suddenly there's a whole world of people that you can talk to, that you can relate to, you can talk, that you can learn from, you can experience, you can commiserate. That's the word I kept looking for. There's a community, you know. I've always had this thing where the moment I wake up, the moment my eyes open, before I guess, but my brain just is like fucking just off to the races. So annoying. I noticed that at a young age. I was always just like, God, so always wrestling with my stupid, fast, hyper brain. And it actually seems to be slowing down. I don't think the brain is really slowing down these days, but I can't wake up as fast as I used to. I'm way more sluggish than I used to be. A little more. We're deep in it. Let's just go.
There's too much volatility. There's too much volatility in my house. I feel bad for my kids.
Yeah.
I feel bad for my wife. Like, it's not great all the time. And it's like, oh, clearly it's a part of all this thing.
But what's funny is that you or I could think even talking about that might invite criticism. When what you're saying right now is like deeply admirable in all
Oh
ways.
my
It's like
God,
you're
it really
taking
is.
accountability for your shittiness and your struggles. You're attempting with all your might to make things better. You're failing.
For sure.
But
Failing. He said that weird.
the
didn't he?
huge difference is like you act like an asshole. You're not aware of any of this. You then shut down. I don't know what your pattern is. Then you and your wife finally amend some way. You never address it. She's left to think like, well, this is as good as it's ever going to get because he has no awareness of it. He's not making any effort. Versus even if you are unable to hit the brakes in those moments, the simple fact that you know it's happening, you're committed to trying to reduce that gap. Everyone in your life.
You would,
Hope.
yeah,
right.
you would think.
That's
You would
right.
think, but I think like I've been with my wife for 20 years, right?
You've been married
Wow.
for
We've been
20 years.
married for 20 years,
Yeah.
right? I've known each other for forever, and a lifetime of like that kind of volatility, though, where then there's just this push pull. Like it does damage, though. It does real
Yeah.
damage, right? And
Yeah.
so at some point, people get fed up with like the coming back and realizing like I was wrong, and I know
Yeah.
you didn't really mean
It
it
can
like
be
then. I
exhausting.
overreacted, and
Yeah.
it's exhausting.
Yeah.
And there's a cost to it, right? And so, JP Sachs is a musician, a songwriter, a singer-songwriter I love. He's amazing. He was at my house, and I said something to him that he ended up turning into a song that was like a beautiful song I love. I hope he releases it someday. But I just said in conversation, I said, I wouldn't wish myself on my own worst enemy. I feel like it's just damage waiting to happen in a relationship, which is why I tend to pull back and be like a real lone wolf. I don't have a lot of friends in relationships. And that's the way that I protect people, not by like elevating like myself through those. It's more like I'm going to give up before I
Mess anything up.
mess anything up, right? To protect you from myself, right?
Right.
And I think that life to me is like really about the meaningful relationships and community
Mhm.
and being an effective agent of love and change in community, whatever that is, family, neighborhoods, work, like whatever. How can we be like a light that just brings the best out of the world that we are blessed with, that to occupy. And then, feeling like it's actually better if I just don't have any of that, that's like it's like a weird place to be.
Yeah.
But it's not true. You would not be married for 20 years if you didn't have.
Unless you have Stockholm syndrome.
No, we remember Elizabeth Smart said she doesn't believe in that, and if she doesn't believe in it, then I don't believe in it.
Well, it's a very unique
she
test
gets
case.
to decide that. But
Sorry, I know Elizabeth Smart. Was that the context clues? That does ring a bell. That was yeah. You make your world small to avoid harming others or yourself, and relationship harming. I mean, not like you're, Bane. I'm just saying, like the way I survived burnout without knowing I was even autistic was I avoided everything I could. I just stayed inside and I recoiled from the world. It made my horizons small, and I still do that. That's why doing any basic stuff in life is really difficult for me. I could do an animation project or some video editing thing or some other sort of creative. I love woodworking. If I didn't fuck my wrists up, I'd probably spend a lot more time doing woodworking because that's so healthy. It's like therapy for me. It really sucks that I can't do it anymore because I went and got a woodworking job that destroyed my wrists. So but I made my world small, and I don't have anywhere near what a younger me. The stuff I used to drive around when I was cleaning fish tanks and doing comedy in Chicago. I was driving around 4, 5, 6 hours a day, traffic everywhere. Tons of stops, tons of stuff, drinking a lot, doing all kinds of fun, not all day. I mean, but like doing comedy at night, doing aquariums during the daytime. But today I'm just like, I gotta brush my teeth. I gotta brush my, it's like it's brutal. So I was able to take care of that wound on my leg, feel very proud of it. It's worth bragging about. Let's push on. We got more to go.